There was a bunch of stuff that Josina Anderson tweeted out, and among them that, the league would certainly look at what Major League Baseball did with Trevor Bauer as far as the suspension goes. And the way it was put, it kind of makes sense. I am starting to get the sense that this suspension will probably be a little longer than the 4 to 6 games I thought it was. Talk me off the ledge here, Quincy. Give me, or do you think it could potentially be a little bit longer based on what you've seen lately?
I think we're still kind of in the early parts of this. Here's what I would say. If it comes out now, like if the NFL rules or makes it sound like they're going to make a ruling now, that's not good news if you're the Cleveland Browns, because that means it's probably a longer term suspension that they want people to talk about so they could make an example, right? If it's not that, like let's say we get through this quiet portion, we get through the preseason and we haven't heard anything, that it's probably going to be, a portion of the season. I don't think it gets any longer than a season. And again, this could be something where the NFL, how much of a hassle do they want this to be, right? Because suspending a player is one thing, right? But then they can challenge that ruling, challenge, if anything, if this is an unlawful stoppage of work by their employer, and then you can challenge those things in actual court. Tom Brady has done this multiple times and won. So, this is, if the NFL chooses to go the year-long process, they know that this is going to be a long process, right? This is usually the NFL does not make an example out of players who have significant resources at their side for this reason. So I would be surprised if the NFL decided to make an example out of Deshaun Watson purely because Deshaun Watson has enough capital to defend himself. And that's not something that the league usually, does, right? Usually they make an example out of Vontaze Burfict, or a player that's been in that mid-range where people know him, but, he doesn't really have enough money to really challenge us all the way. When they do try to make an example out of somebody who does, like Tom Brady, it usually doesn't end their way. So we'll see what happens here. It could be anything. Again, I would caution Browns fans to say, hold off on all of this, worry until August, right? Because we're not going to hear anything. We're not going to get much more news than what we've gotten. And what we've gotten hasn't really been news. It's been, hey, he's interviewed, and the suspension could be a year. It could be 3 games or nothing. That's the same conversation we've been having since we traded for Deshaun Watson. So I don't think anything really is new there. It's just, it's a topic of conversation again.
Right.
And that's the only reason it's coming up again.